his attachment to the Mandalorian causes great fear, which can cause great anger, and we know that fear leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering.
Not quite the quote, but obviously we know. Obviously we know what, and even Ahsoka said.
Chris, I'm dying laughing. You're still just going.
When those emotions. Use the take, bro. I can't even use it now because I was halfway through the sentence. Afanguli muerto. Hey everybody, welcome to Twin Talk, a video discussion show where twin brothers Chris and Kevin drink and draw while talking about comic books, movies, and all things pop culture. We're your hosts, Chris Hart,
Kevin Hart.
and today we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5.
Stick around to the end of the episode to see how our drawing of Ahsoka came out. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel for more videos.
So we just came back from the Mos Eisley Cantina. We're drinking our blue milk alcohol here, made from the tears of the Bantha, and we just finished watching the episode. Chapter 13. The Jedi.
Right away, there's no punches pulled at all. We see Rosario Dawson making her live-action debut of Ahsoka Tano.
We know that this character is the brainchild of Dave Filoni and George Lucas. It's kind of his baby. He goes right into it. I was expecting them to maybe hold off for maybe halfway through the episode, and then we get the big reveal of the Jedi in the forest type thing. But we get right into it. Episode starts. We're in the thick. She's going against this militia group run by the magistrate.
She's kicking names, taking ass. I think that she looked very cool for a live-action adaptation of the character. It could have easily looked goofy.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with that head.
And her acting, she was in it. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure. This might be a dumb question, but is that a headdress or her actual hair? The like tentacle blue and white things, because it looks almost like a hat or a headdress that she's wearing.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too familiar. Let us know in the comments if you have the answer. Headpiece or hair? Rosario Dawson crushes it here. We're excited for the fans. Us personally, we haven't really delved too much into the animation and TV side of Star Wars. We're more of the movie guys. But even going into this episode, you could feel the energy, the hype for this character. Even being kind of like out of it, you could tell it was going to be a big deal.
We finally arrived at the city of Calodan on the forest planet of Corvus. Deforestation has hit this place hard. Not a single damn leaf on a tree. They're covered in smoke. Ahsoka uses that to her advantage against these guards. She's turning her lightsabers on, which is a dead giveaway of where she is. And then she just disappears into the fog. Very Batman-like.
The Mandalorian so far is built around this world that we haven't seen much from the Jedi. And we obviously know that Star Wars in history has always been revolving around that with Luke, Kenobi, everybody, Darth Vader. Everybody's got these force powers. So the Mandalorian's been holding our attention without that for a while. So as soon as it comes into the episode here, once it comes into play, it immediately gets me going because that's what I live for in the Star Wars universe.
Chills.
Ahsoka goes up to the gate of this city that this magistrate seems to have taken over. It looks like it was once a village or a city and has been taken over, kind of like Gestapo style, Nazi.
Tyrant, tyrannical, like almost like a concentration camp.
Yeah, it's definitely become less of a city or village, and it's become more of a prison to these people. Ahsoka goes right up to the front gate, and she starts talking to the magistrate, saying, "You know what I've come here for. I need these answers." And then the magistrate starts pulling on the heartstrings a little bit, seeing if she's willing to give up people's lives in exchange for this information.
Ahsoka confronts the magistrate. The magistrate tries playing against Ahsoka's morality, saying that she's going to cause the suffering of these people's lives. She's going to kill them off for the answers that she needs. I like the line that Ahsoka says, that these people are already suffering under your hand. And she gives her this ultimatum that you have one day.
Very reminiscent of Luke in Return of the Jedi when he's about to face the plank from Jabba's ship.
Yeah.
And he says, "Jabba, release us or die." And I've always loved that, even since I was a kid.
Love the confidence.
I just thought that was so badass. Like, who is this guy? He's just coming in here, bossing everybody around, cloaked out, murdered out Jedi. And it's kind of like what we see here with Ahsoka. We see that she's got years of experience being a Jedi here because within the first 5 minutes of this episode, we already see more lightsaber action choreography than all of the Disney sequel trilogy.
Thank God.
No rookie could just grab a lightsaber and just start doing flips and stuff. So seeing
That's
Ahsoka,
not true. Rey did it in an entire trilogy.
Yeah, she was the Mary Sue, as everybody says. But I do like Rey. But it was just cool seeing Ahsoka here, seasoned, nice seasoned vet when it comes to the Jedi Council and Jedi Order. Even though she kind of walked away years ago, it's just cool to see that she has those skills.
Mando finally arrives at Corvus. He gets off the ship. He arrives at the gate. They let him in because he's a Mandalorian. He's part of the guild. He goes in. He walks through this town. He goes up to this vendor. This vendor just ghosts him. And then he goes into this alleyway. He approaches this father and his daughter and son. Obviously, they're held captive because the fear is just totally apparent in the way that they say, don't even talk to us. Don't let them see us talking to you or anything like that.
Because immediately these soldiers come and grab the Mando.
Yep.
And they're like, the magistrate wants to speak with you.
Mando makes his way to the magistrate's courtyards, the nicest looking place in the city. And we see that she offers him a proposal to take out the Jedi that's clearly on the hunt for her. She's going to use his bounty hunting skills. She's got this pure, like 6-foot staff of Beskar steel, and she offers it to him as payment for the kill.
We obviously know as the audience that Mando came here looking for the Jedi. So now he's being tasked with the goal of killing Ahsoka, which we know isn't going to go well because he's trying to deliver the child to Ahsoka. I also really like the vibes of this episode. It was definitely very, obviously the whole show's tone is like kind of a Western, but this episode in particular was very samurai. Mm-hmm. And even with the magistrate's courtyard, it was very like the garden, very like samurai, like respect type thing. And
like an Oriental vibe.
Yeah. It was very cool. And that's what even George Lucas's whole plan for the Jedi in the original movies was based on samurais and that culture. So it's just cool to see that as soon as the Jedi gets put into the play, that's the flavor we're getting this week. Mando and Baby Yoda are making their way to the forest of Corvus, and we see the first encounter between the Mandalorian and Ahsoka Tano.
We know that the Mandalorians and Jedi are apparently enemies, ancient enemies.
Which kind of baffles me because in the Clone Wars and everything animated, even though we're not too familiar with it, I've seen Mandalorians working with Jedis and stuff, Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka. So that all gets muddled for me in a way, but I'm looking forward to seeing how this show fleshes that out.
They're at arms. Ahsoka's got her dual lightsabers, and immediately Mando comes out with the flamethrower, which I loved.
It was cool to see that he's looking for her. She has no idea who this guy is yet, but the fact that they were both willing to hold their own in combat was pretty badass to me. And then as soon as he says her name, she's like, okay, let me hear this guy out. He says, Bo-Katan sent me. And we know from episode 3 that she said to go see Ahsoka. And we know that from the Clone Wars and animated stuff that Bo-Katan and Ahsoka have a relationship. And it seems like they're on good terms, so she sent him here to go meet Ahsoka.
We know from the Clone Wars that Ahsoka knows Master Yoda. Ahsoka immediately recognizes the species of Yoda. She looks at the child, and she says, I hope that you're here for him.
Next, we see Ahsoka sitting down with the child. They're having a little bit of a telepathic communication here, since we know that the baby can't speak despite being 50 years old. Despite being a child, he's lived a lifetime, which we find out from Ahsoka's mind link with him that he was raised at the Jedi Temple in Coruscant, and during the Clone Wars, I guess he was taken and hidden because the Jedi Order fell during, I assume, Execute Order 66.
I want to know who took Baby Yoda.
It'd be interesting to find out who did.
After 13 episodes, we finally get a name for Baby Yoda. He's no longer known as the child or Baby Yoda. Get his name right. People, we have Grogu.
Does this mean that Lucasfilm has to go back and like
change all the merchandising names?
Rebrand all their plushies and toys? Or does the toys made previously become more valuable because it says the child instead of his actual name?
It's like a first edition.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Now we'll get the second prince, Grogu. Also, I don't know. How do you feel about the name? I kind of didn't see it coming.
I like his name, Grogu. It's cute.
Grogu?
It's cute. I mean, I've always wondered what his name was because we couldn't go with the child forever.
Yeah.
Because eventually the child grows up, and he should be grown up. He's 50
years old.
It's like this thing's not even wiping his ass yet. And he's like somehow using the Force and stopping fire, but, soiling himself. So it's nice to find out that he has a name, an identity, a history, a past. And I'm not going to lie. Halfway through this episode, my emotions started, pulling on the heartstrings of this attachment Grogu has got with the Mandalorian. We all, as an audience, have grown with them and become attached to them as well. So I was like, oh man, like, is this the end of their path? Is he gonna leave her? Is he gonna leave the baby with Ahsoka, or is he gonna take him back? And I started kind of feeling for him.
Din Djarin has definitely grown as a father figure. Even Ahsoka mentions it. You're like a father to him. This is the same guy that we saw in episode 1 saying, I could bring you in cold, or I could bring you in warm. Like, I loved it. I loved seeing the character development. And yeah, definitely as an audience member, I was starting to get like I never want to see these guys apart. But we also know if you love something, you got to set it free. I also really like the line that Ahsoka says that the Jedi fell a long time ago. And Mando responds right away. It's like, so did the Empire. But that doesn't stop him from hunting the child.
He's like, let's get real. Wake up.
No days off.
Yeah, know your order in this world and fight for what's right and do the right thing despite what you believe. So Ahsoka says, we're done for the night. It's too late to start this going now. Let the baby rest. Tomorrow we're hitting squats. She wants him to pull 405 on his first take. Beltless.
2 a days.
Yep. So she's like, beltless. Yeah. My dude's a prodigy. She's like, he's going to hit 400 in the morning. And she's like, let him rest. They're going to hit it up in the morning and start Jedi training. Yes, sir. They're going to start their Jedi training in the morning.
I really like this aspect of what we saw in the original trilogy, Yoda training others. And I really like this aspect of someone else now training Baby Yoda. Oh, how the turntables.
Like George Lucas says, it's poetry. It circles each other. Circles the saga.
Ahsoka and Grogu play a game of force catch with this rock.
First of all, when she grabs the rock, I thought she was just going to be like, you ready here? She's like, we're going to test him now. Boom! Yeah, right in the launch him, throw a nice heater, throw a nice fastball down the middle, right into his chest. And
Trial by fire.
Yeah, I thought she was like, hoping he was going to stop it. But she just kind of like, lobs it to him.
And he just drops this thing immediately. He doesn't care about it. But we see the mechanical knob from the Razor Crest that Baby Yoda's been wanting since season 1. Clearly he's got something that grabs his attention just like any other child. And Mando, with his relationship to Baby Yoda, Grogu, he's able to have him use the Force.
The two of them have this intimate connection. It's almost like you said, father and son. We realize that they're obviously not blood related, but they've become family in this aspect. And the second that Mandalorian goes up there and he's like, oh, here, take it, try to grab it from me. He takes it immediately. It also helps that it's kind of like a toy to him, so he's attached to that as well.
Ahsoka then says that his attachment to the Mandalorian causes great fear, which can cause great anger. And we know that fear leads to anger. Anger leads to suffering.
Not quite the quote, but we remember that. We remember that from the puppet Yoda that was eventually turned into a CG Yoda with the special edition.
We know from the old trilogy that that's no bueno.
Yeah, because Ahsoka says that she knows what can happen to a potential Jedi if they allow these emotions to overtake them. She saw that with her former master, Anakin, who became obviously Darth Vader. So she's fully aware of what can happen if you train somebody with these powers that is still attached to these emotions.
I really like the whole play into what Star Wars is all about, that constant conflict about good and bad. Even Baby Yoda, he seemed lost. He had a whole period of darkness when she Force communicated with him. So I'm kind of worried about the little guy.
How devastating would that be if he goes to the dark
side?
Dark Yoda. If he goes to the dark side one day, that'd be the most drastic, dramatic thing ever.
Total plot twist. Ahsoka refuses to train Grogu, and we see that the Mandalorian name drops the magistrate that she sent him to kill her. Ahsoka goes into this whole exposition about how the magistrate, Morgan Elsbeth is her name. We see that she rose to power after the Clone Wars. Mando and Ahsoka devise a plan to take out the magistrate and her guards. I also love, too, that Mando, in like the 10 minutes that he was in this village, he assessed the entire militia guards. Yeah. He said, oh, she's got 2 assassin droids, she's got an army, she's got this one gunman who's ex-military next to her.
Yeah, even though he was just passing by, he came correct. A nice callback, too, to the Lucas original name for the lightsaber, the laser swords. In the original script, he was like, even with your laser swords, you're not going to be able to take on this many people. And they decide to team up together. It's kind of like the Marvel team-up of Star Wars. Very cool. Love to see it.
Yeah, these two opposing forces, we know that the Jedi and Mandalorians apparently are ancient enemies. We see them coming together to stop the greater evil, really. The magistrate's 24 hours are up. Ahsoka returns just as promised. She comes back. She's killing people left and right. And she enters the village, and she walks up to them all badass, and she just throws down the Mandalorian's armor, showing that she's taking out the bounty hunter that she sent.
We see that the magistrate's not backing down. She's standing her ground here at the gate. She tells Ahsoka, nothing that you want is going to stop me at this point. She tells her guy Lang, open fire, kill her. He says gladly. He opens the fire, starts shooting lasers at her. She goes full-on Jedi Force jump into the air, which I loved seeing again.
Ahsoka's taking on this army all by herself. They're gunning for her. Then we see the Mandalorian step in just as this villager is trying to free the captive people. Ahsoka and Mando take out these gunmen, and she makes her way into the magistrate's courtyard. The magistrate and Ahsoka, they have their standoff, Mando and Lang outside the city gates. They have their standoff, and it was just a total moment of badassness all around. We see the girls, the ladies, taking off their stuff, and they're about to go at it, man. And I love that we hear the Beskar staff hitting the lightsabers outside the walls. And I love the fact that the Beskar can even withstand the lightsaber.
Very cool. Very reminiscent of like the Marvel universe with vibranium and adamantium and all
Cap's
that.
shield.
Yeah, it's just cool seeing the different forces in the Star Wars universe. What can hold up to what, because the Jedi seem like the all-powerful force in the world with those lightsabers, and it's just cool knowing that there is something out there that can at least withstand it, besides Darth Maul's pelvis. Again, we have this awesome standoff between the men and the women. We see that the magistrate's holding her own, which is pretty cool to see. Maybe she's had some training.
Lang's outside the courtyard's gates, and we see he's like, okay, you win. He's putting his gun down, but we see he's got other plans. He takes out his
We've seen enough westerns. We've seen enough westerns to know that this guy is not going to go down easy.
He was a coward. He takes out his pistol, and the Mando just takes him out. And he's just like,
yeah, it was pretty bad. He goes full on RoboCop.
The day seems saved. The villager that we've seen before in the episode comes outside, and again, he gives a respectful nod to the Mando. But we see these assassin droids crawling on the roof, which I totally forgot about. He's like, behind you! And the Mando takes him out, and I thought these droids would be way more of a threat.
Yeah, for being like the magistrate's 2 bounty guards or whatever.
They were pretty incompetent.
Yeah, they were just set pieces.
Very cool design.
The one cool thing they did was a half front flip.
Yeah.
On a roof, which was definitely done by a stunt double. So they weren't even that cool. Very cool name, HK. It was like HK. They were the guards. And yeah, useless. They got taken out by one headshot. The other guy was taken out with the lightsaber. So it's like they possessed no threat whatsoever. So behind the gate, we see Ahsoka defeats the magistrate. She's got her lightsaber up to the throat. She says, "Where's your master?" The information she was seeking earlier in the episode, now we know.
Ahsoka mentions this name, Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I'm sure that most of the hardcore fans of the animated shows, Clone Wars and Rebels, will be hyped about this, but for me, it just fell upon deaf ears. I was like, who the hell's this guy? But from what I Wikipedia'd, he looks exactly like a mix between Nightcrawler from X-Men and Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, a little bit too, like, he's got like the Director Krennic uniform, the white Imperial garb.
Get up.
He's got blue face, red eyes. Very cool looking character, so I'm definitely excited to see what they bring. The day is saved. Mando and Ahsoka meet at the gate. All the villagers seem to be reclaiming their city back. Everybody's happy. Except for the Mando. He's a little down because he knows that now it's time to part with Baby Yoda, Grogu, and he's getting a little emotional.
Not for nothing. I love Ludwig Göransson, but this flute piece was a total train wreck for me.
Yeah.
At the end, I was like expecting a sad moment, and it was just kind of like all over the place. My eyebrows were like, I was like, I didn't know what to do.
Villagers' music.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do with the
They
score.
were doing the Mandalorian theme and like flute. John Williams would be rolling
like a
in his
recorder.
grave if he heard this. Dude's not even dead yet, but you know he'd be spinning in his urn. Mando wakes the child up. He takes him down to go meet Ahsoka. Ahsoka realizes the connection between these two. She understands that the Mando and the child are inseparable, and she knows that this could potentially be dangerous by training him in the ways of the Force if he still has this emotional attachment. She decides to say, you know what, I'm sitting this one out. Bring the child, Grogu, take him to this planet Tython, let him sit on this Force-sensitive throne, see if he connects with it, whether he likes it. Does he like the leather? Does he like the moonroof? Power steering? You know,
test drive this.
Yeah, let him rock it out for a little bit and see if he wants a 2-year lease or if he wants to own. You know, so he's going to reach out to the Force or not. We'll find out in the future. But for now, Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian are going to stay together. And I don't know if we're going to see Ahsoka again. I know it's rumored that she's going to be getting her own series, but I think they should just throw her in here and there.
Yeah.
I thought she was really effective in this episode. So why break that? Why? I'm against everybody, even Marvel. They just start handing out series to people. You know,
Spin-offs. Do we really need? I even think I heard about a Bo-Katan spin-off, an Ahsoka spin-off. Totally unnecessary. Do we really need that? And I mean, we already have the Clone Wars for Ahsoka and Bo-Katan, so I don't know, do we need to do that again, live action? I'm not sure.
One thing I wanted to mention too is that Ahsoka says if the child reaches out to the Force, a Jedi might potentially hear this and come
Reach
looking
back.
for him. So we know there's not many Jedi left. If they introduce, I know there was talks years ago about Sebastian Stan, the guy who plays Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to potentially play a young Luke Skywalker in a live action Disney series. So if they do that, that'd be cool. I would love to see Luke Skywalker in this show. That'd be awesome. Or we were thinking about Force Ghost Yoda. Could he come out, maybe talk to Baby Yoda?
I actually heard too about a possibility, a conspiracy theory that Mace Windu might make an appearance. Samuel L. Jackson coming back looking for a super suit. We see that we never saw him actually die on screen, although he completely got electrocuted and thrown out the window for like 6 miles. But we never saw the body, so that's always an on-screen like debate. Did he die or not? I mean, look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett died, and he's back. So I'm hoping that they go full circle, bring Samuel L. Jackson's Mace Windu back into the game, and have Boba Fett. Maybe he's got his eyes on Mace Windu, because we know that from Attack of the Clones, Mace Windu killed his father, Jango, and we saw that shot at the end of him just looking at the decapitated head. So hopefully that'd be amazing if they go full circle with that.
Yeah, Star Wars is pretty infamous for bringing characters back. I mean, most of pop culture really is. But Star Wars, like you said, Mace Windu, he fell about 3 years into the 3 years into that off that building. Boba Fett fell into the anus of the Sarlacc, so we know that he came
Darth
back.
Maul, Emperor. How we could go for days here.
Yeah, everybody comes back. And all these characters, it's not too far-fetched to see maybe potentially Mace Windu making a comeback. And I believe Samuel L. Jackson has said that he's interested. If they ever wanted to bring him back, he would do it. So
I need the purple lightsaber.
he would have a robotic hand, I assume, because Anakin chopped his hand off. So Kevin, what do you think? What are your final thoughts about this episode, The Jedi?
Not knowing much about the character Ahsoka, I was totally thrilled to see her live-action debut. Rosario Dawson, totally committed. The choreography with the lightsabers and the action sequences was awesome. Even the costume design, well done. And I'm totally excited to see more of her if they bring her back. And I would love to see where they go from here.
Yeah, same for me. I thought this episode was one of the stronger episodes. I mean, I feel like each episode in this new season has been like topping the previous one.
Just getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, it's just building on what we know, what we love, and just expanding it. And like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan of season 1. I'm not ashamed to admit that. But season 2 is really making me fall in love again with the Star Wars lore. And the formula of season 1 was very rinse and repeat to me. This one is very much expanding the universe, taking everything that people fell in love with and just growing on that. And this episode was just so well directed, so well written. I would give it a 10 out of 10, honestly.
I agree. We're definitely getting a lot of character development, a lot of furthering the plot finally, because like you said, season 1, you weren't about it too much because it was definitely a slow burn. But the minute Baby Yoda, Grogu, and the Mandalorian were about to depart, I was like, torn at the heart. So that kind of paid off for me, the slow burn. It finally led to this point of like, oh, no, wait, keep it going. This was episode 5. If season 1 is any indication, we only have 3 episodes left of an 8-episode series. I love how quickly they're now developing the plot and the characters. Inject it into my veins. Anyways, that about wraps up today's episode of Twin Talk. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Comment below to join the discussion. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you next time. Peace!